It's recording in progress. So you won't be on the computer screen in the recording unless you're speaking. So if you don't want to be visually seen in the recording, just go ahead and turn your camera off if you do come off mute to speak. Okay, so welcome everybody to our first PTA meeting of the 2021-2022 school year. I'm really excited and appreciate all of you who've taken the time to join us today, either virtually or in person. I would like to do some quick introductions because I know we have some new faces here. And I'd like to, just so everybody can kind of get a sense of who we are. I'm Katie Fox. I am our group president. It is my second year as president of the group. Previously, I was the vice president and then just a parent. I have a child who's in 3rd grade here at the elementary school. And that's about it. Vanessa, do you want to say hello?
I'm Vanessa Campbell. I am the vice president here at Ben Franklin, and I have a 2nd grader currently in the building and a 5th grader over in the middle school.
Perfect. Leah?
I'm Leah Fox. I'm the treasurer. My daughter's in 3rd grade here, and this is my 1st year on the PTA.
Perfect. And then we have our Emily.
Hello, my name is Emily. I'm the corresponding secretary, and I have kids in 4th grade, 3rd grade, and 1st grade in the building. And this is my 1st year on the board.
And then Shannon.
Hi, I'm Shannon Stalikas. I'm the recording secretary this year. I did do it a couple years in the past. I have a 4th grader in the building and then a 6th grader in the middle school.
Awesome. And so we can see our friends here in the room. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Laura Ranieri. I have a 3rd grader here at the middle school or at the elementary school.
I'm Tiffany McDonald. I have a 1st grader in the school.
Welcome. Karen.
I'm Karen Whitelaw. I'm an alumni mom.
You miss?
Yep, I'm Crystal Dawes. I have a son in
Okay.
What did you say your name is? I'm sorry, Crystal Dawes.
I'm Trevelyan. I've got 2 daughters, kindergarten and 2nd grade. Been on the board for a couple of years, not on the board, on PTA. COVID really messed us up. So I was 2019 to 2020, 2020. Okay, to be done.
Now you're back. And Mrs. Evans?
Hi, everyone. I'm Kia Evans, building principal. Welcome tonight.
Awesome. Does anybody on Zoom want to introduce themselves? You're welcome to do that. Feel free to come off. If not, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Say hello. I'm Kelly Radley. I'm the assistant principal for Franklin. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Bradley. And everyone here is mad at me because I didn't have the volume turned up enough. And my apologies.
Oh, no.
I'm doing it upside down. I think I need to hire an intern to help me with some of this stuff. Mrs. Radley, Miss Radley introduced herself, our vice principal, assistant principal, whichever they needed.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Russell. I'm one of the teacher representatives. I'm a speech pathologist in the school.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Cook. I'm a kindergarten teacher, one of the representatives as well.
I'm Mrs. Bulmer, another teacher representative, and I teach 2nd grade.
Okay, well, thank you. Those who have shared with us and made your introduction. We hope that everybody here feels welcome, and whether you are vocal or not, we just appreciate you being here and learning more about what we are going to do for our children. So before we jump into today's agenda, we do have to quickly review, and I need at least 2 people to agree to the meeting minutes from last June. I know many of you were not probably there for them. So if we have any people, anyone who was at the June meeting who would like to accept those meeting minutes, and I will share them on the screen in just a second. Just please raise your hand. We've got Laura. This do you want to write down? Oh, you want to write Laura. And do I have a second? Tiffany McDonald? Tiffany McDonald. Perfect. Okay, and now I can jump right into today's meeting agenda. Okay, share the screen. Okay, can you guys see it? Are we good? All right, I'll zoom it or scroll it down as we need to. So there's a lot we hope to accomplish this year. Last year, obviously, we were thrown a huge curveball with COVID. We tried not to bother families with too much fundraising. We tried to really hold on to the money that we had. So knowing that when school was back in session, we would hopefully be able to provide programming and activities and support our kids this year and next year. And so we have a lot of exciting things to share with you guys today. The first thing I just want to point out, because there was a number of handouts, is I did include an events calendar. This was at supply drop off in case you swung by our table then, but this is just a calendar outlining every programming activity as well as our meeting schedule. So you can add it to your calendars. We hopefully have a lot of exciting things. We have some free events for our community and students, as well as some fundraising events that help us out. And for some of you who don't know, some people wonder, why do we fundraise? What is with all these catalogs that just got sent home? And why are they always asking us to sell stuff? Well, everything that we do is for the children. All the field trips that the children go on are completely funded by the PTA. We pay for them. Assemblies and special guests and speakers that come into the school, we provide the funding for that. We also try to help support our teachers and other functional areas within the school, such as our school spirit committee. We provided, popsicles when the students first came back to school. We provide a lot of fun things for them at the end of the school year. And then some of these, the winter dance, the ice cream social, those are all free events for the community and for the students that the PTA funds, in addition to a number of other things that you'll see on our budget later. So if you're ever wondering, why do they keep asking us for money? Well, it's not me asking you for money. It's just so that we can continue to provide our children with as many opportunities as possible. I don't ever want to have to say no, or have a teacher have to go back to a family and say, well, the PTA has no money, so we need every parent to pay $10 for us to go on this trip. That would be terrible. So we really try to do everything that we can so that the children have the best experience possible when they are here in school. So that kind of leads into the super awesome, I've heard confusing packet that went home to all of our parents last week. I apologize if this seems extremely overwhelming or if it was confusing. Our goal really was to just give everybody options rather than being forced to sell candles or cookies or things that maybe not everybody liked. Our intention was to give you options in between the donuts, the cookies, the coffee, and then the wrapping paper one. Do not feel like you need to sell something from all of it. You may choose that your family really loves coffee or really is excited about Krispy Kreme donuts like myself. It is my #1 pregnancy craving right now. So I am super jazzed to be able to go down to Erie and pick up a million dozens of donuts and bring them back to our family. So that's really it. I know, each one does have instructions on how and what and dates and stuff. But if you are confused, if you're unsure, feel free to send me an email. I think my phone number and the email is on almost every single flyer that went home. And I'm happy to answer those. One common question I am getting, and I just want to bring it up here, is if people can write one check for, for example, if I'm spending $100 between all four, can I just write one check to the PTA or do I need to write separate? In a perfect world, I would love 4 separate checks because yes, although we are cashing them before we send the money to the vendors, we will have to, if I get a $100 check from Sam Smith, I have to now go and figure out where is that money coming from? Is it $20 from donuts and $20 from coffee and then $60 from the catalog, as opposed to Mr. and Mrs. Smith giving me a $60 check that I can match right up to the catalog, $20 for coffee. So if you can give it separate, thank you. If you cannot, I am not going to be mad. Just understand it may take me a little bit longer to organize all of the orders and separate it out. So there is no, I guess, hard or fast answer. I'm just going to share our preferences with you. Okay. One thing I will ask, especially since we're doing this virtual and in person, I totally want all the questions. I think we're going to hold them now till the end so we can try and maybe I'll answer stuff in the middle of the meeting and maybe And if not, we can definitely reach all of those questions at the end. The next thing I just want to let everyone know is picture day. We have not forgotten about it. I pinky promise. Unfortunately, the company that we use booked up really, really, really fast. And when all the September dates that I wanted, they were not available. So our picture day is October 25th. This actually works out pretty good because our community center isn't available right now, or a community room. And we tried doing pictures last year in the hallway, and that was a little crazy. So I am actually happy that our picture day is a little bit later, so we can maybe have the community room back and have a better space to organize that all. Retakes are on December 3rd. We had a lot of questions about the adult size black t-shirts. So as all the parents know, the PTA did provide those black Ben Franklin t-shirts that the students all came home with in the first or second week of school. We did originally order 50 for adults and parents, but our faculty are so awesome and such great supporters, and I should have thought this through. They sold us out. They wanted the t-shirts so they can jump on Franklin, apparel day, and they loved the black. So Vanessa and I went to school the one day and we sold out in like 5 minutes. And I felt terrible because we still had a line of teachers that wanted t-shirts that we just didn't have them. So I did place an order that day with Nickel City, our vendor. We're getting 200 more adult t-shirts that we'll be able to sell to teachers and to parents at upcoming events. However, we will also be running an online merchandise sale like we did last year with a variety. There's going to be hoodies, there'll be zip ups, there'll be white shirts and black shirts, and we're going to do tie-dye this year because that was a big request, and a variety of things. So if you want to hold out for that till November, awesome. But as soon as we get the black t-shirts in the adult sizes, we'll let everybody know, and we will have them at all future events for sale. They are $10 in case anybody wants to know. And we do take credit card or cash. We have started a Remind channel. So thank you to Miss Vanessa on this wonderful idea. Everybody's digital. All of our families are on Remind for their students and their teachers anyway. And I know everybody really doesn't love all the emails that I send out. So I figure make this a way, again, I want you to consume the information the way that's best for you. So my thought is, let's give you as many options, put stuff on social media, put stuff in a Remind app, send it out in an email. Hopefully you look at one of the three. If not, let me know how I can communicate better with you. But our Remind code is there, not to worry, there's nothing on it yet. I think it's only a couple of us that are members yet. So as I start to see people utilizing that, I'll make sure to send event reminders, event sign up links, just important information that you would need to know. The next thing on my list, and this was more of a question for Mrs. Evans, is that has there been talk about bringing back room parents into the community within the school?
A little bit of conversation.
Okay.
We're hoping to be further out of COVID restrictions than we are when we initially brought it up last year. But there are, quite a few things that we would have to do in order to allow adults to be in the building and within 6 feet of the children.
Okay.
So initial conversations, absolutely. Do I support it? Absolutely. But both concerns are still kind of fluid.
Has there been talks or brainstorming around having almost like virtual room parents? So instead of them actually going into the classroom, they become the point of contact for other parents about information, either whether events going on within the classroom, if there's a birthday or a special celebration, and that parent can coordinate with other parents, but doing it virtually instead of having to be in the classroom.
No, we have not had those conversations. We just started talking about bringing them back. I was told long before I started that you had many classrooms that would have parents, some parents who would sign up to take more than one classroom because they would know the classroom next door. So we're just in the initial stages of thinking through how that would look if, let's say, I have a room parent and you don't have a room parent, and how they could serve in multiple rooms.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I guess just keep us updated. I'll keep it as a bullet on moving forward agendas, just so we can hopefully find a way to have that be a possibility. And if not this year, maybe next year when COVID lightens up. I just think it would be, not everybody wants to hear from me. So if it can get, and I don't know everybody. Yes.
Help to the teachers, just to have another person communicate with them.
Yes.
Communicating things that are happening in the classroom. So definitely.
Okay.
Something that I support.
Great. Well, TBD, folks over there. I don't know if you heard from Mrs. Evans, but most of you are teachers anyway, and probably have been in this conversation. One new initiative that we launched this year and some people, depending on when you signed up and paid your membership dues online, is we started a adopt a member / gift a membership. So it was brought to my attention that there may be families within our school community that really want to be active members in our PTA, but may not financially be able to do so, or may just be just really nervous about, paying those membership dues. I don't ever want anybody to feel like they can't come and be part of our group because of financial reasons. We will find a way to make that happen. And one of the ways that we're starting and want to try and make that happen is through this gift and membership. So what you can do when you go online to our store is there's an option. So there's different buckets. You'll see there's a standard membership, you see the teacher button, you see the additional family member button, and then there's this adopt or gift a membership fee. It's $5. It's the same cost as if you were adding your spouse or your sister or brother, to your family. And we keep track of it in a different way. It actually goes into our donations section in our budget. And from there, I'm working with Mrs. Kobieski and Mrs. Evans that if a family identifies themselves that they want to participate and they want to be in the PTA, but they just can't financially do it, I do need their name and email address to put them into our membership system. And this covers them under our insurance. That's why it just can't be anonymous, because if they do participate, we want them to be covered under our insurance. But this way we will have some funds set aside for those individuals. Right now we have four memberships available. Nobody has reached out to me, but there are an option. And look at this, we got 4 more from Miss Whitelaw. Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you. So now we have 8 memberships that we can gift to any families that are potentially financially in need, but want to participate in our group. So if you, please just share the word or share it with them. If you happen to just know somebody that may have expressed that to you, let them know like, hey, they have a new program and you can become a member for free. They have options. And they can either get in touch with the school directly and Mrs. Evans will just give me the basic information I need. Or if they feel comfortable reaching out to me, they're welcome to do that as well. So thank you to everybody who has already donated and participated in giving. And if that's something that's on your heart that you want to participate in and help out as well, again, the button is in our online store. Okay, so the next big thing that I am going to cover instead of our amazing new treasurer is our budget for this year, because there has been a lot of moving and changing parts, but in a good way. So if you guys want to pull that out, I'm going to share my screen. Screen people, I'm so sorry. The font is like super small, but if I make it bigger, I can, you can read it more. I'm just going to have to scroll. So a lot of this is really the same from years past. However, if you've been around us for a long time, you might think that this might look a little bit different. And how it looks different is, I went to a number of leadership trainings over the summer for the PTA. It was very enlightening. And I am a little OCD with my organization, if some people haven't noticed. And when I would look at old budgets and old treasurer's reports, I had a hard time following a template that was already there. So I needed to create something that made sense to me so that if anybody had questions, I could actually explain it and answer it for them. So what I have learned is we really want to start with, what are we spending money on? What programs do we intend to provide? Events, what supplies do we need for operating? How are we supporting the school and other initiatives? Really, what are we going to spend money on this year? So that's all at the top. Then at the bottom, is how are we going to pay for all of this? Where is the money going to come from? What type of fundraising are we going to do? What kind of events to raise funds? What kind of donations are we receiving to make all these events happen? Sorry, Zoom people, there are all the programming and ways, things we're spending money on, and then ways that we hope to make money. And then I wanted to categorize it. So everybody it made just a little bit more sense. So what you'll see here is stuff from last year, 2020 to 2021 on the left side. And then what we're proposing as our budget for the 2021-2022 school year. There are many things that are staying the same. A lot of the money, most of the money is staying the same, but we have made some adjustments just based on what we've actually spent over the last few years, knowing that last year was kind of an anomaly, but looking at, what should things actually cost moving forward. We also, for those of you who were not around at the end of last year, we did receive a very generous donation of $10,000 to be used in a variety of ways within our school. And we talked about how we wanted to use this money in our June meeting. And so those items are highlighted in the gold, yellow on your printouts, just so that you can see how that tallies up. Some of them are new, and then some are just initiatives that we were able to add some more money to. So one of the first new things is a diversity event. And we'll talk more about that in the committee that we plan to establish in a few minutes. Then assemblies and school spirit, we actually increased that budget just to be able to, again, provide our children some more services, some more fun things to do while they're here at school. If you guys were around last year, you remember the Scholastic News saga. So the cost of the Scholastic News magazines are now being funded by this generous donor. And we also, it was brought to my attention that we really wanted to be able to provide a yearbook for every child in the school. So the plan this year is parents will not need to buy yearbooks. We as a PTA are going to fund those yearbooks. That quote, and that's falling within this donation. There's two new line items. One is a mini grant, which I'll talk about in a second about that. It's really more for teachers or special areas within the school that are requesting funds that are really designed for a small segment of students. Traditionally, our philosophy is our money is to be almost like spent equally. So if we're giving something, it's for all the students within the school. If it's a field trip, the teachers coordinate, but we have field trip money for every single student. But sometimes there may be a department that needs something a little bit extra. And rather than say, okay, well, this group gets money, but nobody else does, we decided that the fairest way is to create a mini grant system. There is an application. So the teachers or staff that are looking to request this funds, they would have to apply for it. They have to explain why they need this money. Have they tried asking the district first and they tried other funding sources? They give us the amount, and then we as a PTA will vote on it at the next meeting. So that's also something that they can't just say on Monday that they need money by Friday. I want to be really thoughtful on how we're spending this money. So I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And then the other one is a charitable needs fund. And that really can fall under so many things, but as a way to support our families or children that just may need a little bit extra. It could be us simply, maybe purchasing a couple extra school supplies for children that they weren't able to possibly at the beginning of next year, or it's really open, but there's a budget of money that if we know that, somebody needs something and they're just not able to provide it, this would be something that our social worker would be managing and making that discretionary call and requesting those funds from us as a group. And again, it's something that we will all vote on and make a decision. It's not, always a done deal, and it's not me making the final call. It's just something our group would talk about. And then everything at the bottom is the way that we hope to make money this year. There is one thing though that is really important to me to point out. Although we have a significant amount of money in the bank that we are carrying over from last year to this year, we are in a deficit. We are going to spend over $2,000 more than what we intend and hope to make. Yes, Mrs. Evans?
just one thing I want to point out right now versus waiting. I want to just hold on the winter dance as we're thinking about being inducted. Obviously, we're going to talk about fundraising, just thinking about COVID restrictions.
Oh yeah, I don't expect that to happen. That's wishful.
It was there, but.
Yeah.
I know last year we were all praying that we would look a little bit different.
Yes. And the winter dance, we don't make money on. That's more of an expense, which is good because it's a couple $100, but again, we're looking to spend about almost $32,000 this year. And potentially, hopefully we do more. I'm very cautious and conservative, but we're looking to only bring in 29,000. So will we have enough money to do everything? Yes, we have plenty of money in the bank account right now. But I don't want everybody to think that we've got all this money that's going to last forever. Because if we continue to operate this way at a $2,000 loss every year, eventually that nice cushion that we have will run out. So the fundraising is really important. And anything that we can, gather from our community is really important just so we can continue the services that we want to offer our students in the future years. So does anybody else have any questions on this budget that's being proposed before we vote on it? It is just an anonymous donor. I am not at liberty to say. A very, very generous person who wanted to give to our school community. But I'm not able to give credit, unfortunately, to that individual. It was a lifesaver, especially when we found out about the Scholastic issue last year and we were all panicking, like, where is $3,500 going to come from? No, we are very, very thankful to that person and that organization for their donation. But it's also, we need to keep in mind that we don't know how long it's going to last. They have agreed to hopefully continue to fund this. But if they are unable to, if their financial circumstances change, that's another $10,000 that we are short moving forward. So we got it there. We're going to use it and use it on our kids because we have it. But I like to be very transparent, and I never want to mislead anybody, especially about our financial information. It was a nice big check. Yes. That definitely helped our bank account and allowed us to try and add, the yearbooks are new, like being able to pay, that's hopefully going to be a great thing. Yep, the t-shirts. Is there any questions on the budget before we vote? And I'm looking at Zoom friends. No, I think I see everybody. Okay, all in favor of the proposed budget? Can we raise our hand or say aye? It looks like we have all approves and hands raised on Zoom. I think Lisa and Rachel, maybe a virtual thumbs up. Maybe we'll say yes. There's no nays. There's nobody's vetoing this, right? Okay, you're right. So unanimous. Looks like unanimous. Okay, that is done. Oh. Let's scroll down. And for people on Zoom, I will email you a copy of this tomorrow, so you have the hard copy as well. I didn't want to send it out and leak it too early before the meeting. And the last thing that's on my report, and I talked a lot about it in the proposal, was about the mini grants. So I've started a Google form. That link is in the application. I'm trying to keep it really simple. I'm actually mimicking what they do out in Hamburg. I got the idea and the words and the questions that they ask on their application from them. And so if your department or as a teacher, you feel that there's something that you need and the district tells you no, or another funding source that you traditionally go through says we just don't have it in our budget, please use this. I don't know I have no idea how many people are going to apply for it. So I don't want to say you're definitely going to get it, because if we get inundated with 10 requests at, $500 a piece, we won't have enough to fund everything in full. But I think as a group, we can come together and talk about them and really make the best choices of what's going to be most impactful for our students. It is virtual because I'm not in the building and we don't have a staff member anymore who is able to check our mailbox daily like Donna used to in the past. So I am trying to put a lot of this stuff that is a timely request, whether it's a payment reimbursement or any type of request for funds. I am going to do it virtually. That way I can get notified right away and you don't have to wait a week for me to stop into the office to pick up the mail for the group. So I know it's a little bit new and a different change, but I want to be able to serve the teachers and those that are, requesting funds from us for whatever reasons in a timely fashion and make sure that we can get to it at an upcoming meeting. That is all I have. I'm so sorry that took a half an hour of your time, but we just had so much stuff that I wanted to cover. I am going to pass it over to Vanessa, who's going to share the few things that are on her part of the to-do list or the agenda. That's how I think, you guys. Everything's a to-do list.
So I am taking over Boxtops this year, and as everybody I hopefully know by now that Boxtops went virtual. So it is an app now, and you scan your grocery shopping receipts. So far, we've already brought in some money. We have $36.70. Pretty much. No, we had there's 7 participants right now. Ooh. So it's not all me.
I got a dime in there. So.
My toaster strudels help us.
If you go to Target right now and buy 5 General Mills products, we get $5.50 back. So woo. I've been just buying Annie's like crazy. Annie's mac and cheese, like my cupboards are stocked. Nice. My kids are like, why do you buy more mac and cheese? I was like, because I get $5.50 back. So yes, please, if you don't already have the app, please go online or go into your, what is it?
App Store.
App Store, thank you. And download the Boxtops app and then look for Ben Franklin Elementary, and then we can start earning. And the money that we earn also goes to all of our organizations that we do here. Yep. So that's it for Boxtops. Our very first event is coming up super fast, and it's the Quarter Carnival. We decided to move it up this year. It's usually at the end of October, but we wanted to do it outside to be able to have the kiddos be able to come and have fun and enjoy. So with it being outside, we wanted nicer weather. Fingers crossed. It is September 30th. It's after school from 6 to 8 p.m. as of right now. And we are still looking for a location. We're going to do a little field trip after this meeting and see what it's like.
We may also change the time potentially. Yeah. It might be from 5 to 7 so that we don't have to worry about darkness, since it's 7:04 right now and it's still okay. I think that might be.
That's what I'm looking at it right now, and I'm kind of touch with like no. At first I was going to say 5:30, 7:30, but even looking right now, let's probably land on that.
5 to 7. So
yeah.
Changing the time to 5 to 7. Awesome.
We are, so we're going to sell pizza. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We will have pizza and water and pop. It is unconfirmed yet if our 4th graders will be joining us for a bake sale.
They will not.
They will not.
They will not be joining us.
That's a shame. So we will not have dessert.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. I might surprise us.
All right. Miss Rapp on the screen right there likes to bake.
Oh, anybody wants to bake? Yo, cake kids are taking a break.
I have a volunteer already who is excited to help. A happy little 5th grader would love to serve you some baked goods.
But we have the food
truck. We also have, if you're not interested in that, we are having a food truck come as well. It is House of Munch. They serve carnival food. So there will be cotton candy. There will be fried dough. There is just tons of stuff. We've had him here before. He is awesome. If you haven't already had House of Munch, he's really good. And I figured what perfect food to have to go with our carnival, but then carnival food. We have tons of games, but if you are not interested in House of Munch, the point of the carnival is every game costs $0.25. So hence Quarter Carnival. So you can, I haven't priced it out yet, but pretty much for under $10, your child can play every single game and get food. that's how it's been in the past. So, I mean, it's a really great just event because they get to come, they get to play, and you get dinner too. And then, you know, go to House of Munch and splurge a little. They also are doing a fundraiser with us. So whatever they take in, we are getting 10% of the profits that night as well. So it's still a little bonus fundraiser there as well too. Also on that note, if you guys haven't already, at the beginning of school, cleaned out your kids' toy box, and you have the Burger King toys and the McDonald's toys and all those little toys that all the kids just kind of toss after they're done with, right after they've eaten, send them in. Send them in, we turn them around, and unfortunately,
Give them to other kids.
Give them to other kids, and then you guys get them right back too. I'm sorry, but it's happening. I gave an doll one year, and I do not want this doll back. And what is the first thing my daughter grabs? Is that doll. And I'm like, really? Yes, just little toys, just the little ones. If you haven't already done so, cleaned them out, you still have stuff like this laying around, send them on in. We will take them. I actually just went through mine and another mom who dropped off a box, and we have about two or three Carnival Games worth of toys. So, I mean, the more that we get donated in, the less we have to spend on other prizes and stuff like that. So it's helping us save in this area as well. Yeah.
With COVID, is it going to be so much parents? Are we going to sort of, you know, clean beforehand?
And most of them are plastic, so I'm not, I mean, they'd be pretty much set aside and they wouldn't have been played with or touched with for a while, especially if you send them in right away. So, I mean, it would have the 10-day quarantine on it too.
No, we're very uptight about anything from not kids play with it.
There also will be, so I did order a number of things from Oriental Trading, like stickers and tattoos and stuff that has never been in anybody's hands. I think maybe we should put those things separate in separate boxes. So any families that do have that concern know that this stuff, we'll even keep it in the little plastic packaging that the company sends it to me. That way you can be the first one to take what you need.
And one of the things we've been doing when we allow things to come into the classrooms is asking for 3 days before touching it. So the idea is that once upon a time, people thought that it lived, and some people still believe that it would live on a surface. And so we would, just like when you're dry cleaning home, we call it off gas. So we let it just sit there for 3 days before they would be allowed to manipulate it. We also have cleaned everything like religiously. I think that's part of why we're not why we've been doing as well as we've been doing. So we also have those options available to us. I'm trying to make sure we wouldn't be able to do it like cloth type. You know what I mean?
We could do. What about like Lysol? If I brought in some cans of Lysol, and as we usually they're like spread out in bigger buckets, we sprayed everything down. Like as we're setting up at 3 o'clock. Gave it time to obviously it's not going to be sopping wet, but would that give any parents peace of mind or no?
What about the electrostatic sprayers that we have that the custodians use?
Yeah, we do have those. So
would we be able to
the protectors?
Yeah. Would we be able to use that?
I could ask somebody to help us with it too, versus us using it. The thing is sometimes it's initially very damp.
Yeah.
You know, like it even like curls the papers and come and hide things at night before it piles up like it's like, you know, so that's the thing about it. If we test it on something just to see how it goes before we do more of them.
Sure.
Another idea is maybe we set a deadline for when people can turn things in.
Sure.
So that we can make sure that they off gas or like they have time to, you know.
How about Monday? That definitely falls within that 3 days.
Yes.
I know we've had some people ask on Facebook about dropping stuff off. Diane hasn't emailed me to say like, hey, this magical box of toys showed up at the school.
A lot of people have those same concerns.
Okay.
Right now, like when things,
Perfect. Just to say that the deadline would be on Monday. Okay.
I also have a lot of mesh bags and I can use my washing machine.
Okay. I think most of my stuff is plastic. A lot of my son's like little action figures were But they have been quarantined since before quarantine because I had my stuff put away before Corona. And it's been in a giant tote for over a year and a half. There might be spiders in there, I'm not sure. But
everything I went through today has been in my garage for over a month. And my stuff personally has been in there for over a year as well.
Okay.
So maybe a lot of my stuff is still in the McDonald's bags. So they have not been touched at all.
We make sure people are wearing gloves if we're giving out tickets. So we'll grab some of those.
Okay.
In order, especially people who are serving food or anything like that.
Absolutely.
So we have gloves. We're, following all of our COVID safety protocols. I know when we're outdoors, some of the things are a little bit more relaxed than when we're indoors. However, you're right. We definitely want to still be very, very mindful.
And the last little bit about that, I would have to say is if anybody would like to volunteer, this is one of our bigger events that we need a lot of volunteers for. And we always have fun. Yeah. I mean, we're going to need people to operate the games and hand out food and tickets. Usually we have anywhere between 15 to 30 volunteers for this event. So that's what we're looking at right about now.
And we give volunteers pizza.
Yep.
You get free dinner if you help us.
I think I saw a sign-in sheet over there for volunteers.
There is.
We can take the same one through Google, put it out to staff.
I already made a sign-up form and gave it to Mrs. Russell.
Okay.
She asked me about it a couple of weeks ago.
Because we created our own internal PTA night weekend events sheet at the beginning of the school year. So
okay.
Already locked it in there. Yours looks much fancier than the one that I put out to everybody, but long story short, they have it.
Okay. Well, honestly, there have been a number of teachers who, when they signed up for their memberships, they selected certain events. So they're probably on the list already. Perfect. And I'll be following up with all those people this week to make sure they're still interested. I will find you. Yay! And she's got your ticket. Yes. I have this whole bag of all those tickets and then just ripped some. Like I promised, everybody who attends gets a raffle ticket. And oh, they're not there. I've got goodies up there to raffle off. That was your idea. No, because normally, so my apologies. Normally we send home a membership form in the beginning of the school year. However, I felt like you guys were getting hit with so much stuff that I was really nervous to send home another flyer, that I've held off on sending that to the office to print and send out. I have that if you want to fill it out now. Otherwise, I can give you the link and you can go however you want to do it. But yeah, so it's unfortunately intentional because I didn't want people to be like another flyer from this chick and throw it out in anger on me. But I appreciate to know that there was a need and that people were looking for it. So I apologize that it didn't come sooner. Yes, yep. We have an online store and I can get you that link before you leave.
You already did. You're signed up.
Over there.
Oh, for the event. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you meant membership. I was like, no, down there. I thought you.
What event do you want to sign up for? I could take it down right now.
You're gonna go in a minute.
We're gonna hold you to it.
How about if I send you an email and you and your family can talk about it and let us know what works for you?
Maybe if you have a schedule, just if you want to sign up, you don't know what we're doing down the road. Kids are sick.
Yes.
Trip, whatever it is.
So I use those lists as my. I pray to God these people are still alive, breathing, and like us list. And usually, so yeah, I didn't check it on accident. And before we start really diving into all the logistics of each event, I'll be contacting. So if you know, like Miss Karen back there, she's like, put me down for everything. I don't know if I'll be here, but put me down. So I put her on every single list, and I just plan on emailing the group and asking, you know, here's what we have going on. We need, if you are still able to help us, great. If you can't, let me know.
I just thought I missed something. So
no. On the membership form online, there is options for you to select the events that you want to participate in. But if you didn't know at that time and you weren't comfortable committing, no problem. I understand.
I'll be there for it.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that. Anything else, Vanessa?
No.
Okay. All right. Our new treasurer, Miss Leah Fox,
Hi.
is here. Would you want to speak or do you want me to speak? Okay. So we went over the budget, which was obviously the biggest thing to talk about. We did include for the people here in person and for everybody here virtually. I'll email it to you. We have copies of our check reports. This is usually what we bring to every meeting. So you see what has been spent and what money we've been getting over the last, well, for us, the last 2 months from July, 3 months to September. One thing we wanted to ask, as I've been working with Leah on how we consolidate this,
how we can make it easier.
How we can make it a little bit easier. So typically in the past, these check reports were done based and compiled based on when our meetings were. And some of them were, 6 weeks in length or longer, depending. And they don't always, and they definitely don't match up with bank statements because bank statements run on a monthly cycle. So we wanted to ask the group if it was okay, especially with our treasurer's reports and the things that you get, that it now runs a full month cycle instead of being like the second page shows August 1st to September 21st. And what that means for us, or for them, is now we have to start going back and forth between 2 different bank statements moving forward and checking, the debits and the credits and making sure everything lines up, as opposed to just using, everything for August. Here's everything for September. And it just makes the accounting part a little bit easier. How that could impact you is that there may be some information that isn't 100, like if we have a meeting on September 10th and we have August done, we're not going to have September done, or even those first 10 days. That may really be important to some people. It may not. We don't know. So we wanted to bring it to the group to ask if we can switch our check reports to being full monthly statements, as opposed to running from meeting to meeting in between. Is anybody opposed to it? Let's just put it that way. Is anybody opposed to that? Okay.
Unanimous approval.
Yes. Perfect. So each meeting though, what's not here today, because our budget was just being approved, is we call it a treasurer's report. And that will look very similar to the budget, but it's going to show what we've proposed to spend and then an actual spend column. And as we are spending money and earning money in the different line items, those figures will be updated each month with running totals, so on and so forth. And these check reports are just that support to show you what we have coming in and what we have going out during that time frame. Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay, again, my number one rule is just I want to be completely transparent. And so everybody knows where everything is at all times. And we already talked about mini grants. Clearly, I was really excited about them when I was putting together this agenda. All right, Miss Emily, you're up.
Hello, everyone. So we have a quick membership update. As of this morning, we had 58 members. They are actually split pretty much evenly between teachers and staff and community members and parents, which is awesome. I have spent a good part of my day sending out thank yous to people for joining. So if you haven't gotten one yet, you will eventually. You don't have one yet, but as soon as you join, you will. I'd like to encourage people to invite friends, neighbors, their kids, teachers, staff that you may know. Technically, we need approximately 140 members to meet our funding needs.
That's our state obligation.
Oh, our state, yes. To meet our state obligation. Okay. It's a goal. Okay, to meet our state goal. So, the more members that we have, the more we can provide to the kids, because that's our number one goal. Does anybody have any questions about membership? There's 2 types of memberships. There's a $7 membership as like the initial person in the family, and then there's the $5 additional member. And then we have the gift of membership as well. Anybody have questions about that?
The donated ones, did you consider giving one to that company that made that donation? Or that?
I don't know who they are.
You don't even know who.
No. I mean, I did at one point. I did at one point, but I would really have, it was very important that that person remained anonymous. We sent them a thank you letter and that was about it.
Yeah.
It would. Do you want to ask?
Make them a member.
It's two things that I'll mention to you about that.
Okay.
One is definitely we can do whatever as long as they're completely anonymous. That was very important. And two is, you know what, we did a thank you letter and thank you, and I was going to ask probably, I don't know if it would be you now, for just maybe by the end of the year a receipt for them, and then they'll write that line off as a charitable donation.
Absolutely. So I'm so sorry. I thought that was handled already.
So that's why I didn't bring it up now.
Okay. Okay.
It's not anything, you know, we have time for that. I know that you asked for that to be done last year too, Katie.
Okay.
I remember that. But that being said, if there's a way to do it and they remain anonymous,
well,
I don't know, because it sounds like you need.
Because when we put official members in, we need a name and an email at minimum for Member Hub. We could tell them that they're members. I'm happy to give them a certificate as like an honorary member.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not. There might be a way around it. We'll find out.
Okay. Thank you. I know you've got connections. That,
you
know people and know things. Coming back to Emily.
Yep,
hold on, friends.
For that. So one thing that we have added this year, actually, as part of that $10,000 donation, was a diversity event, and that was pretty important. At the end of last year's meeting, it's actually a requirement as part of the $10,000 donation that we got, that we do something with diversity, equity, and inclusion within the PTA, whether it's an event or something like that. But we are going to be having some kind of event. We haven't come up with anything yet, but I'm looking for volunteers to be on a committee that I'll chair, and we will come up with ideas and brainstorm and all that stuff. And to me, that kind of goes along with the membership piece of trying to increase the diversity within our membership, making sure that all the voices of the community are heard. So making sure that, you know, make everyone feels included and inclusive within the PTA. So that kind of goes along with me to the diversity committee. So I will be asking for volunteers for that at some point. If anybody's interested, they can ask me at the end of the meeting. I also we talked about doing like a membership appeal letter almost. Now that the start of the year has happened, all of our fundraiser flyers went out and everything, sending something out to the parents, just reminding them, you know, what is it that the PTA pays for? You know, it costs about $20 for every child to be provided the things that we provide them for every year. So field trips, t-shirts, bless you. So we're probably going to send out a letter just letting parents know, because sometimes people want to know what the money goes for before they're willing to either become a member or donate. So that's on my to-do list. I think that's it.
Perfect. Thank you. Mrs. Evans, are you ready for your report?
I'm gonna go a little bit out of order. Some of you will have seen, first of all, again, thank you for coming this evening. I'm so excited to be able to have you all here today. I'm gonna go a little out of order. I'm gonna start with health and safety reminders. Some of you may have already seen this form come home with your children. It's because parents are not being safe at dismissal time. And as we say with our teachers, our #1 priority is keeping the children and the staff safe. If we can't keep them safe, we can't teach them. So just a few reminders with regards to safety. Spread the word. You know, lots of animals coming up to our children at dismissal. They're terribly cute, but you know, you get a baby who's allergic to something, it's jumping on him or her, or fearful. So we've asked people to keep their pets at home and not bring them to or from school with them. I know sometimes it's a perfect opportunity to walk dogs, but it's not really working as well as we had hoped it could work. Making sure that we aren't making U-turns, and people who are out there can probably speak to that, like just right there, children crossing. So please spread the word that it reminding families it's a school. I know trying to pick them up is not ideal. We did work in 8 additional parking spots that are going to be visitor parking spots by the end of this capital improvement project that have been approved, so that there will be additional parking for those who are coming to pick up their children. It just hasn't been completed yet. And then one really important thing, if you help me spread the word on this one, is making sure that if and I don't think that any of us do this intentionally, but if they're dropped off late, they're, middle schoolers can walk in and sign in, but for our children, they still need an adult. So then I'll go back to the academic updates. Right now, we're finishing our initial, we're calling it baseline assessments in order to move students into more targeted instructional groups. And so I think the teachers who are joining us virtually can also speak to this, but what you're going to probably start hearing is more in terms of things happening in smaller groups very soon. Our goal right now, instead of calling it, the learning loss that people keep talking about that happened as a result of the last 18 months, we're looking at ways to mitigate some of those losses, but we're really thinking about accelerating the learning. How do we go back and think of things that they may have missed because they missed a third of the school year in 2020, and then they were hybrid, and then virtual, and then back hybrid, and then all in 2021? How do we go back and we look at some of those things that we maybe didn't have time or we did not cover, build those into the existing curriculum in order to help the students develop a solid foundation? There are all sorts of conversations that are happening about ways that we do this on the front line. We call that through our Tier 1 instruction, as well as additional ways. So I would say stay tuned as we as a district continue to think through additional ways to try to mitigate some of those losses, AKA accelerate the learning for the students who really for 18 months things weren't the same. As far as academics, I would say that the teachers are doing a really great job, like focusing on that social emotional component first and foremost, like making sure that the students feel welcome and they're ready to come back to school and they're ready to roll up their sleeves and they're just happy to be here, because if we skip those steps, then we're not going to make up for the loss. I think everything we read just keeps talking about all of what they lost. And so our job is to try to help mitigate some of that without stressing them out to the point where they hate school, because that's not doing anything for anyone. You also probably, 3rd and 4th grade parents should have received letters from the district regarding enrichment assessments and things like that. So as we think through differentiated instruction and we think through meeting the needs of our students, we're thinking about our students who are ready to have their learning accelerated or receive enrichment opportunities. We've hired a new GT teacher for our building. She will serve us and Hoover and parochial schools, in addition to small group instruction for those who may be struggling. And I know Katie and I have talked about before, sometimes those kids you don't want kids on either end not having their needs being met. So we're looking at ways to do that, and you should have gotten information and you'll continue to get information. That being said, I also want to encourage all families to sign up with your classroom teachers for open house. We tried very hard to accommodate in-person opportunities. It took me a week to think through how we were going to pull this off, literally a week of just staring at screens. By the last version, before we finally put something out, I think it was like page 11, Miss Radley and I had gone through it so many times. So right now where we landed, as opposed to just going A through J, I literally counted how many students we had with a certain last name to divide the building. But instead of doing that, where we landed is you can select time. So if you have children in multiple grade levels and you want to be at kindergarten at 5:45, but you need to be at 3rd grade at 6:30, the schedule allows you to do that. What I'm hearing from staff members though is that we don't have a lot of people signing up. So a paper copy went home in folders. Teachers have sent remind messages regarding signing up. And additionally, I sent a school messenger message last Friday. So please spread the word that we'd love to see you here on Thursday. Also going back to safety, my district office asked me to spread the word. There is a Kids Escaping Drugs presentation coming up You know, when we think about drugs when we're in an elementary school, we're thinking about some of the hard drugs that, you know, obviously we don't want any of our children to engage in, but also know that by middle school, you're starting to have a huge number of students who maybe vape for the first time or try things that, you know, many of us would consider just at-risk behavior. So this presentation might be something that you're interested in attending, and maybe just hearing more about the trends, because I guess, you know, the idea is if you know about it, then you can try to help. If you can predict it, you can try to help prevent it. We never know what our children are going to do. Trust me, I have 3 who are much older than the children here, and you just never know. I just say you pray and you prophesize. You know, you just keep speaking greatness into them, and you keep praying, and God willing. And then every once in a while, you scare the mess out of them, and they capital project updates. Thank you for your flexibility. Truly, oftentimes, Ms. Riley and I come in and we don't know either. But it does look like we are going to get our community room back very soon. I know the PTA has it reserved for a number of things, so I know that you're probably like, oh God, are we going to be able to get it? And so are we. We have been told that we'll have it back next week. But the bright side of this capital project that's happening is we will have all new pipes in our building. So we won't have sinks that say not potable by the end of this. Seriously, I'm making it, because honestly, we got a laugh about it or cry about it something. But the sinks will be able to drink from all of our water fountains. Not that we're going to. We have all new water filling stations. Please make sure your children have water bottles. We've run out of the extra ones that we had here because we give them away sometimes. I have dish soap. I said they can just stay with me. I'll wash them. Don't take them home. But just make sure that your children all have water bottles. If you have extras, some of your teachers might take love for you to donate them. But that being said, hopefully when we're all done with this, we're going to have, so the electricity is being updated. Wow. We're supposed to have new lighting. If you notice on the middle school side of things, the lighting looks amazing in certain parts of their building. We've got new desks in every kindergarten and first grade classrooms. We are next to have our building painted and the interior painted. So I call these growing pains, but at the end of this, you know, we are going to be a much better and safer. It's gonna be much safer for our children and our staff. So thank you for your patience, and that's about it.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna turn it so do any of our teacher representatives have any updates to share with the group? Mrs. Russell, and Mrs. Cook, Mrs. Balmer.
Okay, I had to find my unmute button, sorry.
That's okay.
Just to let everyone know that we have one assembly scheduled. Wow, that was terrible language from a speech therapist. We have one assembly scheduled. It is Mike Siege. He comes every year, not last year, unfortunately, due to COVID. But he comes and he does a magic show that's presented to one grade level at a time. It is basically he has a grant. I think it's through Doodlebugs that he works with. He does request a donation. So we will be, I will be filling out that request for PTA. He's not coming until November because of our community room not being accessible to us. And that's a donation of $200 is what we typically make. So that's all we have going right now. Thank you for the shirts for the kiddos. That was awesome on Monday to see so many Black Franklin t-shirts. So exciting. I can't even tell you. Staff are very happy to hear that there's more Black shirts on order. Sorry that we, totally took your stash, but we have a lot of new faculty and staff this year, so they definitely are interested. And for those of us that have been around a long time, we like to keep adding to our supply. So we all appreciate that. And I know people are looking forward to the sale that you guys do annually in November. And then I just had one question. Can I ask my question? I typed it in the chat.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you can ask it. I haven't been watching the chat because my computer's been faced away from me.
It's totally fine. And you said you were taking them later, so I didn't want to jump the gun. But some staff and faculty have asked, can they join PTA on paper?
Sure.
Okay, so we just, I guess we need some forms. If you want to send it, send like some sort of form. Either you can send it to myself, or if you just want to, maybe Mrs. Shadden in the office, like whatever's easier, honestly, that we could get some out to faculty and staff, because not everyone is comfortable paying online. And I know that they're interested in joining.
I have an entire stack that I'm going to give to Kia, who's going to take them to the office, and they will be there for you tomorrow.
Excellent. I love it. Maybe Kia, maybe those could make it to the faculty room. That would be awesome.
And well, I think I know Emily touched on it when she gave her update, but thank you for the teacher support that we have. And I know it's still early on in the year. When I was looking at all of our members in Member Hub, and you know, I'm in there every day, you know, checking money stuff and orders, and I was like, teacher, like, holy crap. I actually was talking to Emily, I go, I think there's more teachers than parents on here. But luckily it's even, it's about 50-50, but I was just so happy to see so many, without us having to send reminders and us. I mean, I'm sure you guys are spreading the word, Mrs. Russell and Kia and Kelly and everybody, encouraging them, but it's so nice to see that we don't have to hound them or feel like we're pressuring them to be part of our organization. So thank you for everybody who's sharing, you know, that they should become members and encouraging them. And it definitely will show, especially when families see that our teachers are just as involved as our parents in this organization. So thank you.
I know I speak for all of our faculty and staff that we really value our PTA. So absolutely. And you know what? The staff and faculty here are used to me hounding them. So it's all good. It's all good.
You said you had a question?
I have a question for the teacher reps, actually. It's Emily. Because I'm the correspondence secretary, part of my job is to like write notes and stuff. So if you know of any staff or teachers, admin, anybody who has something like exciting going on in their life, or, you know, met some big milestone or something like that, please feel free to send me an email. I think, I know I've emailed at least most of you at least once. Probably Mrs. Cook and Mrs. Russell have received like 5,000 emails from me. So if you can email me, I would be happy to send notes. I just don't want to have to write like 700 at one time at the end of the year. So that would be great. I really love sending notes. I have like a huge stack of them, and I just got some more tonight. So we just want to, and they don't have to be members. It can literally be anybody in the school. So I'd love to do that. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, like births, a retirement, a wedding. Maybe they made it to 10 years or something like that, and they're really excited about it. I'll write a note for anything. I will write a note for anything. You know I will. You know I will too. So it literally can be like, and maybe they got a new dog and they're just telling everybody about it. I would be happy to write them congratulations. No. So yeah, a new baby, but it's a fur baby. So please feel free to do that. If you don't have my email address, let me know, but it is also on the PTA website. So thank you.
Anything else on the teacher side?
Teachers, I know that they're recording notes, so I know that the teachers are recording notes that they send out to the other teachers. Just noted, I don't know if you noticed that we definitely decided 5 to 7 on the 30th. So just wanted to throw that out there as we're recording the notes that will go out to the staff.
Oh, for the carnival. Yes, and I'll update the flyer and send it.
Got you. I got you. It's in the notes. Good to go.
Was there anything else on the teachers side? Okay, good. No? Okay, any member questions? Now that, and I should look at the chat, I'm sorry. Can we join? Yes, you can join on paper. Okay. Any member questions? Sorry, I have to stand. I'm like so sick of sitting.
I know like the yearbook thing is coming out of the donation, but like if in the future that donation doesn't, would we be able to do it kind of like gift a yearbook type thing for the families that can't afford it? Would that?
That would be a good option.
Because I know like at Kenmore West, they do it for seniors who can't afford it. The teachers all like put in money to get yearbooks for seniors who can't afford it. But if we could do something in like Member Hub or something, like gift a yearbook.
That would be, yes. And it's funny, before I went back into my notes from June to look at, make sure that everything we talked about in June made it into this budget proposal the right way. I actually didn't think we were doing yearbooks at first. And we were Vanessa and I were trying to brainstorm ways that, you know, if we can't fund it out of PTA money, how can we help other families? And we talked about having like another donation line, or at least trying to offset, or maybe helping teachers do a special fundraiser to raise funds for that.
And I'm so happy you brought it up to me last year. I gotta stand too. Because I had no idea how much they cost.
Yes.
Until we started having this dialogue for an elementary yearbook. I am so happy that we did engage in this conversation, because like
they were $12.
Now we're looking at $5.
Yes. Mrs. Dean has found a new vendor that works with our photographer, but it gives her a much more flexible timeline on submission, and the price is much more affordable. So now the school handles the actual yearbook. We are not in charge of the yearbook. We helped kind of coordinate in some relationships, and we do the school pictures, and the school pictures roll into the yearbook. But she's got a great deal. And when I did the number versus that, I did have to, if anybody goes back to June notes, I think there were amounts in different buckets that, if you were to remember, were greater, but because of that yearbook ticket, I just had to decrease some other things a little bit, but I still feel we were able to put money where money wanted to be.
Well, it shows you how out of touch I was, because it was $5.
Yes.
They were really expensive. Yeah. When you told me $12, I was like, what?
Yeah.
And
a lot of times, if through the photographers, they will donate a bunch of them.
And they were not. They were a bit tough. Their deadline, if we wanted a cheaper price, they wanted their deadline in March for printing to be able to get that early price. And there's so many things that happen after March that we would lose a lot of opportunity for candid photos and stuff to get into the yearbook. So that will be great. Any other questions? Okay, I do need 2 signatures from members on our bank statements. I can't sign it. Nobody else can on our board. So if 2 people want to come and quickly give us our signature, and then for those who are here, we have a raffle. Sorry, friends. We do have, so I did try to bribe people to come with some goodies. And of course it's loud, but if anybody on Zoom have anything else they want to add before we close out today? Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, especially you guys on Zoom and dealing with the computer moving constantly. And I hope you were able to hear mostly everybody other than me, since I'm right here. And like I said, we've recorded this. So once it downloads, I kind of look at it. I will get it up on, we do have a PTA YouTube channel in case people don't know. There's only like 1 recording on it from last year at this time, but it will be there. I'll share that link with all of our members to view, and I'll send you all the attachments of handouts that we gave out today.
We can either talk either things that I won't be able to do at some point.
Sure. No problem.
At some point, but I love all the things that were included, so thank you.
All right. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful evening. I appreciate you. Stay well. See you next month. Oh, next month's meeting, Tuesday, October 19th. Same thing, either in person or Zoom. Hopefully we see you. Bye.